Yeah, warriors, we drinking it down. Raise your voices and stare at this town. We're the champions of craft beer sport. Tolkien audio, we hold down the fort.
What's up, everybody? A Tuesday edition of the podcast. Just a quick one here today. This is a piece of audio snipped out of Sunday's show when Rob and I were in studio last to record the Monday edition of Tolkien Audio, and the show was running a little long. We were already pressing up against 2 hours long, and decided, you know what, this could wait. Rather than make that one any longer than it was already going to be, this could be just a little morsel for those who were interested. I know the wrestling thing isn't for everybody, but Hulk Hogan is not your average pro wrestler, and we're not sitting here teeing up a wrestling event this weekend. It was a fairly iconic star, right? Someone who, through the 80s especially, was everywhere. As big as a Michael Jordan, as big as a Wayne Gretzky. He was on cereal boxes with those guys. So thought we would talk a little bit about him. We're going to drop that little piece of audio for you here in a minute. I will remind you, on Wednesday, Lisa Wallace from Canadian Press will make her TCA debut. And I just had that conversation with her a little while ago today through the fun of time travel and podcasting. So that will drop for you on Wednesday morning. But listen, that was a tremendously fun interview and a tremendously interesting interview. I thought she brought some really great perspective on a few different things around football in this market, around hockey in this market, and the way some things have played out here in the nation's capital over the last 20 or 30 years. I think you're really going to enjoy that interview. Don't forget that will drop for you on Wednesday, July 30th. So make sure you're subscribed if this is the first time you're here. With that in mind, let's get right to it. We'll talk a little bit of Hulk Hogan and his passing and the complications around his legacy. 71-year-old Hulk Hogan.
Hater, racist, sex tape releaser.
I'll see, one of those things sounded kind of cool. Although it was released on him, not released himself. And we talked about this in the very, very early days of the podcast when he was taking on Gawker in court. And he was up there and he's like, Terry Bollea does not have a 10-inch penis. Hulk Hogan might. But he goes, Terry, he's like trying to protect his character even in court while trying to,
It's the Patriot.
The Patriot missile.
Yeah, right there.
Look, man, one of the biggest icons in North American...
Rob Christie does not have a 10-inch penis either.
It's believable, man.
Yes, of course it is.
All right. Look, one of the biggest icons in North American, quote, sports, unquote.
Yeah, it's entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, man.
He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, for whatever that's worth. But I found a piece when I was kind of digging around doing some research on him. It was him on Johnny Carson in 1982.
Da, 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 da.
Here's Johnny.
Hello!
That's pre-return to WWF. What a lot of people don't know and maybe don't care about, but he briefly had made his way up to the WWF as a bad guy in New York, and then he was hired to come play Thunderlips in Rocky III.
Yeah.
And Vince McMahon Sr. said, Terry, you're a wrestler. We need you here. And if you go and do that, you're fired. He said, well, I'm going to go be in Rocky because it's going to be a pretty big deal. And I don't know yet whether this wrestling thing's going to pan out. So off he went. In the meantime, he gets pretty famous doing the movie. He comes back to a company called the AWA. This is still Wrestling's All Territories and
the American Wrestling Alliance
Association. Yeah, the AWA.
Association.
So he's in Minnesota, and that's when he starts being a good guy, and he's trying on the Hulk Hogan thing and the Hulkamania thing. At the same time, Vince Jr. is taking over the company from his father, and he decides, I'm going national. He's going to use cable TV. Instead of just having my shows on in our general area, we can now get on, a superstation or whatever and go nationwide. He's buying up, almost like you would buy commercials. He's buying hours on local TV until he gets popular enough, and now they're buying it from him. Yes. And Hulk Hogan becomes his guy, his star, and we're off to the WrestleMania stuff, and he becomes, one of these childhood heroes or whatever term you'd want to use.
Eat your vitamins.
Say your prayers.
Yeah, man. Get after it.
And he becomes kind of the rebirth of the pro wrestling thing. Without him, WrestleMania doesn't, like, they're on MTV with Cyndi Lauper doing the war to settle the score and the brawl to end it all. And it all culminates at WrestleMania 1. It's a huge success, and we're off and running with this company that ends up going global. And he's the face of it for pretty near 10 years. Did you, I guess you'd have been about 10, 11, 12 when it's starting to get bigger?
I shit on wrestling.
Yes.
On this podcast all the time. But yeah,
Stop being a damn fool.
as a 12-year-old, oh man, I loved it.
Yeah.
Like, and I can't remember who did the Saturday night special or main event.
Saturday night main event, yeah.
Was on NBC,
Yeah.
CBS.
A couple times a year would be on NBC in place of Saturday Night Live.
3-4 times a year, I
About
believe.
that, yeah.
And man, I would at like 11 o'clock on a Saturday night, I'd be looking for it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not this week.
Right.
Oh, it's not this week.
Stupid SNL again.
What the fuck is this?
Get out of here, Dan Aykroyd.
Stupid jokes, conehead shit. Like,
Yeah.
nobody finds that funny.
Yeah.
I want to see Junkyard Dog.
Of course you do.
Where's that at? And so I loved it, right? And the cartoon that came along with it,
Yep.
all the figurines.
Pro Stars cereal. It's him and Michael Jordan and Wayne Gretzky and
all this stuff right now. And so I was never a big Hogan guy per se.
Right.
But I certainly knew that it was like the cartoon was Hulk and Friends or
Yes.
something, right? Like
Yep.
he was heavyweight champion. He was all that sort of stuff. And everybody else sort of, whether you were Tito Santana or, as I said, my guy was always Junkyard Dog. Thump written right in the ass of his shorts. Like it's just...
who hasn't been there once or two.
Yeah, for sure, man. Big dumper. Yeah. So I loved it. I loved it, and I totally bought it up as a young, like right.
And it's huge, right? Him and Andre, like they always say in wrestling lore it's 93,000. Most people think it's closer to 75, 79. That is a massive,
of course it is.
number of people for a pro wrestling match.
And I've said it before. So what would be my great grandmother? So I never met her, but she lived up in like Bancroft, New Carlo, like way up in the valley, way down the valley. And they couldn't live in their place in the wintertime. So they would come and live at the farm in South Ottawa. Mm-hmm. She loved on a Saturday to drink her port and watch wrestling, whether it was from New York or it was Maple Leaf Wrestling. Or it was Stampede, whatever these were, these regional shows.
On your antenna, whatever you could get,
And she would just get fired up about this, whatever it
Gorgeous
was, right?
George
Yeah, this is a Haystack
Bruno
Calhoun.
Sammartino, yeah.
Bruno Sammartino, yes. So, but these sorts of things. And so the idea that people were like, oh, it's real, it's not real, who cared? It was this big thing, but it was fringe and it was niche. And so,
like on those Saturday night main event cards.
No, sorry, I'm talking about my great grandmother.
Yeah,
like I'm
the
talking
Michigan
about
one. Yeah, Minnesota wrestling, Michigan.
This
wrestling,
is it, right?
Yeah.
And
Maple
so
Leaf
you're
wrestling.
talking late. You're talking about
the 70s,
late 50s into the 60s, right? Like you're talking about, Gorgeous George and all these sorts of things, right? And people just bought it up, ate it, like, and so, but it was still sort of.
It's credited with being like one of the things that helped TV explode in its very early day because it was super easy to film. It was super like just one camera on the ring. You didn't have to pay actors and whatever else. You would just run, 1950s television sets on wrestling.
Well, and you had, so to me, it was, I watched the Jays game. So he died, what, Thursday?
I think it was
Wednesday or Thursday. Whatever it was. Jay's game ends, they do the whole on-field thing, and then it flips over and it's Ken Reed and Tim McAuliffe, right? They had Jim Ross on.
Oh, really?
And so I am willing in this situation. I'm gonna go with what Jim Ross said, and what JR was saying was, Hulk was never a great technical wrestler. Was the atomic leg drop not the lamest finishing move ever?
Right. Like he would
Put the big, just
honestly he'd just run at you and drop a leg over your head and you're like, oh my God.
yeah.
Whereas now it's triple moonsaults off the top rope.
This is it. It's the suplex into some, there's a bunch of things. But what he said was, whatever he was huge, obviously.
Yep.
And so he had the physical,
Yep.
but he had the great mic skills. He had the great charisma.
Yes.
And so that's where it sort of...
Some of those promos, man, like that guy is coked out of his mind the way he's yelling in the mid-'80s.
Yeah.
You know something, brother?
Well, you know me, Gene.
Hulkamaniacs, when I said that WrestleMania 6 was more intense than all 5 WrestleManias put together, I meant it, brothers. I feel Hulkamania's in danger right now, Hulkamaniacs. This is the ultimate test of all times. That's why I went to the magic mirror and I said, mirror, mirror on the wall, is the Ultimate Warrior the one that's going to make the Hulkster rise and fall? Usually I get a clear-cut answer, Hulkamaniacs. But this time, the magic mirror looked at me and said, Hulkster, you understand the natural balance of nature. You understand the food chain. You'll know if it happens. You'll know when it comes. All of a sudden, Hulkamaniacs, I started getting worried. The mirror faded out. There were no more answers. That's when I realized that WrestleMania 6 was the most important day for the rest of our lives because it will predict the future. Ultimate Warrior, I don't recognize you, brother. Maybe that's why you wore the war paint. Maybe that's why you cover your face so I won't know who you are. But as we get into WrestleMania 6 and you feel the power of the largest arms in the world, and as I wipe that war paint off your face, Ultimate Warrior, if I realize that you are the new chosen one, I have an obligation to my Hulkamaniacs to fight with everything in my heart. My heart is strong like a lion. My arms are like the redwood trees in the forest. I have no flaws. My thoughts, my mind, my soul is pure. But Ultimate Warrior, it has been written, it has been said, and it shall be done in WrestleMania 6. And if I find out that you're the one that has to walk for an eternity in my shoes, brother, let it be. But you got to prove to me by beating me and all of my Hulkamaniacs that you are the ultimate Hulkamaniac. And if you're not, what you gonna do when the largest arms in the world run wild on you?
Yeah, so it's, to me, those are the things where you're just like, and he's ripping the shirt, and again,
he's a superhero, right? Like,
for sure, the I am a real, like, who didn't love that? So I'm maybe 11, and the guitar riff with the I am a real American. Yeah, and he's strumming along.
Yeah.
He's like, you just looked at it and you went, that guy's badass.
This is it. He was a superhero. He was a cartoon, and the whole WWF was a cartoon at the time. It was all based on being family friendly, and here's our ultimate superhero. And whenever a bad guy is getting the upper hand or 2 or 3 bad, out comes Hulk. He's going to save Miss Elizabeth, or he's going to, whatever it would be. He was the big guy, the E-guy for a long time. We get to the early 90s.
How about he's down and out? And
he's hulking up.
And the head starts shaking, and the hands going up.
And it'd be the punches, the kick, the leg drop.
So lame, but...
Yeah, not for kids, man. Not for whatever.
For sure. You're like, that guy's on the comm. He's doing it.
I remember my dad's buddy telling the story once that, I don't know if it was actually WrestleMania weekend or not.
Well, you live with 80s wrestling royalty right in your house.
Yeah. Big John Studd.
Big John Studd, right in Matt's house.
Yep. And we're at he tells the story of being at Pearson, I think, and he's heading up to the urinal, and all of a sudden this shadow casts, upon him. He looks to the left, the Hulkster standing right beside him at the next urinal.
With his 10-inch penis.
Apparently not. It was Terry Bollea, not the Hulk.
Terry Bollea rolls up to the urinal next to me.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, I have to get an autograph for my daughter, but I have to figure out how to, I got to get out of here. I got to be outside the bathroom.
Yeah.
I got to whatever. And sure enough, he did it. But that was his whole life. Like the thing about Hulk Hogan, and, we end up, people get kind of sick of the act. People are growing out of it who were his fans in the 80s and the 90s. Like into the 90s, and he ends up, testifying against Vince McMahon in the steroid trial, and he's on Arsenio Hall saying, "I've never tried," which was laughable, like that you had never.
You could
done
tell in the 80s when he cycled in and cycled out.
Yeah, when he's slimming down a little, and now he's back ballooned out.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
And so that creates a rift between him and Vince, and like I said, things had cooled off anyway. So he moves on to WCW, which for people who don't follow is just at the time not quite on the same level as the WWF, but it's the next biggest company, but it's mostly across the South. It's based in Georgia and Florida and Tennessee and across the
Hollywood.
So he rolls down there, and he's still a good guy for a little while, but he sees people just aren't feeling it anymore. And then Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, who are Diesel and Razor Ramon from the WWF, they decide they can make more money in WCW. They're throwing Ted Turner's cash around. They come in as this outsider tag team, and it's portrayed as we're still part of the WWF, and we're here to take over this shitty company. And they do it very artfully. They don't mention their names. They don't mention the WWF because they don't want to get sued. A couple times they fuck it up and do get sued. But Hulk can see this money train leaving. These are, guys, this is huge. People are getting it, and there's supposed to be a third guy. They've been teasing it for 2 months. There's going to be a third guy. And he's like, people would buy that I'm the other guy from that company, right? And now I don't have to admit and just retire sadly with people done with me. I can use the fact that they're booing me and lean into it. And he launches a second monster wave of pro wrestling. This is now 97, 98, 99.
He did it twice.
This is it. Once as the star and once as the villain, right? Who's now, and this is only a minor point, but as far as the way these two companies tell stories, Hulk Hogan was the champion forever, and they lined up evil bad guy after evil bad guy, monster after
Iron Sheik,
King Kong Bundy and Earthquake and all these monsters that the champion had to slay. WCW preferred to have one monster bad guy champion that all the good guys were chasing. And so this also, in kind of a selfish way, allows Hulk to stay champion now, right? Which gets the best slots on television and makes the most money. Now he's the bad guy that down in that company, all the good guys are chasing. But whether you like wrestling or not, you all saw it back, the NWO t-shirts. They're still around a little bit, but in the late 90s, they were everywhere with the Austin 316 and the NWO t-shirts. And he kind of does this second wave of becoming a monster star again. And he's wrestling Dennis Rodman and Jay Leno. And it gets a little cartoony again, but that's what Hulk's good at. When he retires, things get a little hairy. He's got the TV show, Hogan Knows Best, which keeps him relevant for a little bit longer. Everybody's feeling the reality TV thing in the mid-2000s.
Yeah, the Aussies.
Then we get the sex tape.
Family Jewels.
Yeah. Then we get the Gawker thing. And then we get the racist comments. He's wiped out of the WWF history for a long time at that point. They don't even acknowledge his existence. And they finally sort of start letting him back in. And then we get into the Trump stuff. In fact, the last time he was on TV was just this past January in the WWF. He was on TV at the Republican convention saying Donald Trump will save America. And he's tearing his shirt off at 70 years old and whatever else. Still look pretty good, to be honest with you.
Juicing.
Yeah, probably. In January, Netflix picks up Raw. He's on the debut episode trying to shill his Real American beer. And he's just being booed and booed and booed.
Relentlessly.
Yeah, it's awful. It's uncomfortable to watch. Now, knowing this is his final. And look, there's a lot of people that say that's what he deserved. That's fine. But this is in LA. So it's a pretty democratic area. It's a pretty left-leaning area. So between the Trump thing and the racist thing and everything else, it was never going to work. And his managers behind him, Jimmy Hart, waving the American flag, and they're still booing. They did everything they could to try and make this. Come on, you used to love this guy. Nope, they weren't having it.
It's 2025, yo.
That ends up being his last appearance on wrestling television.
And apparently crushed by it.
I guess. They say it turns out to be cardiac arrest or a cardiac event.
Well, 50 years of juicing.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Partying.
Yeah. Well, the
carrying
partner-
around that big frame.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time.
They were saying, like, even before he got into his 70s, where it happens to everybody, like in his 50s, he was noticeably shorter. And he'd had multiple back and hip surgeries from doing that leg drop. If you're going to jump in the air and land on your tailbone every night for 30 years,
yeah.
you're going to get a little
course,
shorter.
of course.
Like, things
There's
get
not enough
compacted.
give. There's not enough give in
Yeah.
that ring.
So this is a guy who,
Complicated.
I guess, right? I think the cop-out answer, and I've seen it and it's not wrong, is that Hulk Hogan was a hero for a lot of kids and a lot of people, and Terry Bollea was maybe a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to like, we've had that conversation so many times, Michael Jackson, and do I enjoy the entertainment and the entertainer?
No, for sure, man. For sure. And his impact, as you suggest, is now, if we deem it to be with a monetary level,
Yeah.
undeniable,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And as you suggest,
He built the company.
through the 80s.
Yep.
The guy,
And then built WCW up.
yeah, but as the, you know, I was listening to Lloydie on Friday on 1200, and he was the one that reminded me of him renaming his during the first Gulf War, right? The Patriots and the 24-inch pythons.
Yes, that's
You know,
right.
again, people look to him as, you know, when you're looking at he was
a real life comic book
He's
character.
fighting the Bolsheviks and
Yes.
he's fighting the Iron Sheik. And
Yes.
so these are
Oh, they loved to lean into the pro-American, like whoever's who do we hate right now? Is it the Russians? Cool, get us a Russian. Like it.
Then there was the Colonel Mustafa.
Japanese against Yokozuna,
Yeah,
right?
there
It
was
was-
all these things, right? And so it was, now we look at it as lame Americanism, sort
Sure,
of.
yeah.
But at a time when it was, you know, as a young Canadian kid, I didn't really
No,
differentiate
the
between
good guys versus the bad
the bad guys.
Hulk's a good guy.
Yeah,
I'm with
this
that
is
guy.
it. This is it. And so you go, yeah, that's the guy. Get him. You know, but it was just, it was undeniable, the cultural phenomena
Yep.
that was Hulk Hogan, and pulled the WWF
Yep.
/ WWE along with it.
Yeah, and then to do it again, like I said, people like the
Little shoe
WCW
polish on the beard.
ended up beating the WWF for 2 years in TV ratings when Hulk turned into a bad guy. It was like, oh, I've never seen this part of the story
Eric
before.
Bischoff?
Yeah, it was the booker there, and they're throwing around Ted Turner's money, and
Good
worked
for him,
pretty,
man.
Yeah, worked pretty well.
For sure.
All right, there you have it. Like I said, just a quick one here today, a piece of audio that was recorded on Sunday. Thought we'd share with you now. Hope you enjoyed that or found it at least a little bit interesting, or at least, if not, helped you pass some time. Always appreciate you guys checking out the show and making a little time for Tall Can Audio. As I said, Wednesday, July 30th. That's tomorrow. Lisa Wallace from Canadian Press will be here. We'll talk football, we'll talk hockey, lots of things with her. Right here in the dead of summer as the TCA summer sessions roll on. We'll see you then.
Yo, can warriors been drinking it down. Raise your voices and stare at this town.